So our next speaker, as I said, is a Métis woman, Aline LaFlamme. She'll be speaking about traditional First Nations practices and how it meshes with science. Aline LaFlamme is a Métis grandmother, pipe carrier, sun dancer, drum maker, traditional healer, and workshop facilitator. Aline was founder and executive director of the Aboriginal Front Door Society, providing healing and culture to Aboriginal street people. Aline continues to create and deliver culturally based healing workshops and ceremonies throughout BC and the Northwest Territories. She is a founding member of the Skemcis Medicine Wheel Society and has taken people on vision quests for over 14 years. She's created over 1,300 native hand drums. Aline continues to provide Rites of Passage camps to youth, facilitates teachings and cross-cultural workshops for colleges, schools, governments, and NGOs. Aline has a degree in Criminology, as well as 3 years in conflict resolution training and Hakomi therapy. In 2010, Aline was named Remarkable Woman by Vancouver City. She was honored to light the flame for the Vancouver's World Peace Forum in 2007 and to lead Vancouver's Women's March in January. Aline is a past board member and current advisory council member of the Interspiritual Centre Society, past board member of Be the Change, Earth Alliance, and Multi-Faith Action Society. Thank you for coming, Aline.
Hello, my dear relatives. You want to know one of my least favorite things in creation? And now I got one up close and personal. I don't know how it can be anything but very excited after that band and after the first speaker. I thought it would be a more solemn and more worrisome kind of occasion, but I feel really uplifted. How about you? I want to first give great thanks to the Musqueam Nation, the Squamish Nation, the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, because we are on their unceded territories. We're living our lives, we're enjoying ourselves, we're having a wonderful time here, and we have been welcomed to lead our lives in this good way, thanks to their kindness and generosity. Bless you. I want to give thanks to all of our ancestors, all the ones that walked before us, because they gave us this great, amazing, astonishing gift of life that we're enjoying right in this moment. Pretty precious, isn't it? It's pretty amazing. And it's thanks to them and their thoughtfulness toward us, thinking about us and the kinds of things that they did that allow us to be here right now having this gift of life. And it is our responsibility, and I guess that's why you're here, that's why I'm here. It's our responsibility to have that same thoughtfulness toward our children and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. And not just the children of the two-legged kind. When you hear people talk in Aboriginal culture, we always say, all my relations. And you know what that means? Do you know what that means? Yeah, it means all my relations, which means I can't look anywhere but I'm looking straight at my own relative. Wherever I look, wherever you look, you're looking at your relative. If it's a bumblebee, or if it's a tree, or if it's someone from a different culture, if it's a fish, if it's a four-legged kind, winged one, any kind at all, everywhere we look, we're looking at our own relatives. And so it's very simple for us to figure out how to live. We know how we're supposed to treat our relatives, which is in a good way. I liked what the scientist spoke about our birthday boy a few minutes ago, because I never know what I'm going to say till I'm standing up here. What I do know when I come here is I want to find a way to take what's in my heart and I want to pass it right straight to your heart. That's what I'm doing up here. And what I know is that our old people, I want to talk a little bit about the scientists of this land, going back since the beginning of time. Our elders had scientific literacy. They understood. Yes, they did. Thank you. They had scientific literacy. They understood. They were ecologists and they were scientists and they were darn good at it. They understood biodiversity. They understood that everything that's alive has a spirit. And everything that's alive wants to be alive and wants to live. Don't we all? Don't we all? Yeah. So does everything else. So do all of our relatives. All the four-legged kind want to live. And the ones in the water and the ones in the air, the rooted ones, the mineral ones, the ones that are crawling in and on the earth, they all want to live. And our old people had very good awareness of science. They understood how to support life in a good way. If they wanted to manage something, they managed it in a way not to run over top of it, not to destroy it, not to dominate, but to work with in harmony and cooperation. That's why we always give thanks when somebody gives up their lives so our lives can continue. We say thank you. And we show honor and respect for that one. It's crucial that we do that, and that gets embedded into the culture. So the teachings, traditional teachings, were based on good science. They were based on the understanding about renewable resources. They were based on deep respect for life. So when people on the coast here wanted oyster beds, they didn't take machinery in or any kind of way and destroy everything in sight and build it their own way. They did never do that. They appreciated that there was great wisdom in those oysters. They kind of knew what they were doing. The whole ecology there knew what it was doing, and they just worked with it in harmony and cooperation. And this is what we need to learn to do a lot better than what we do now. I want to talk about a few words that exist in this culture that I think mislead us. And the biggest word I want to talk about is development. When you look at areas like this, I have to say these are not developed areas to me. These are areas that were developed. They were fully developed. When we look up in the mountains, we can see areas that are fully developed. They have tremendous diversity. We know that that's the strategy of this Mother Earth. That's the strategy of nature to survive is diversity. There's diversity up there. We don't have diversity here. We've taken it away. We have undeveloped land all over the place, but we use that, right? Yes. We use that term, developed. We're going to develop the land. We're going to develop a subdivision. We're going to develop something. And we talk about this Mother Earth, where she's living naturally, as raw land or undeveloped land. It's not true. I invite you, whenever you hear somebody talking about developing land, I invite you to change that. We're exploiting that land. We might be destroying that land. We are not developing that land. We're taking away its development. So I ask you to take that one word and begin to change it. And look for all the other words you can find that mislead us about what we're doing. Development is a big one. We talk about living in this amazing world now, and we talk about people in the past as primitive people. I say that there were people in the past that were very natural people. They lived in harmony and cooperation with all things in creation. And I got to tell you, someone I'll just call the so-called, I think the so-called's a little bit on the primitive side. Don't you? I think his awareness of life, his understanding of the natural world is primitive. Our ancestors were not primitive. So think about the words that you're using. Be careful with the words that you're using. And remember that our ancient cultures carry great wisdom. They carry great wisdom. They carry knowledge and understanding. When scientists come up with explanations for all kinds of things, some of our old people just say, "Oh, good. They're figuring that out now. Good. We're glad they're catching up with us." In many kinds of ways. One of the ways is we know, and I've always known, that when something goes out, a vibration, a sound, anything goes out into creation, it's how come I stop swearing. It goes out and it eventually curves around and comes back to us. It's why we want to put messages out that are very good, because they're going to come back to us. So when the scientists say, oh yeah, things aren't just linear, they do curve around, that's the when people say, oh, good. So remember, we want to support good science, as the elders did in the past. They used evidence-based research themselves, and they followed that. So let's honor and work cooperatively and show respect for the wisdom. That's what we want. We need to not be led by leaders that are smart, but they lack wisdom. We need the wisdom. We need the wisdom of our ancient knowledge. We need to put that together hand in hand with good science. And we need to be thinking about what on earth kind of primitive way are we behaving that we're destroying everything in sight? That's got to change. That's got to change. So today is not our end point. We think arriving here is our end point, but it isn't. We must continue to stand up, each and every one of us. We have to stand up every day. We have to change our own behavior, and we have to stand up for change in the behavior of the leaders that we have around us. So my dear relatives, let's keep going in a good way. In our teachings, we say you should think, whatever you're going to do, consider how it will affect 7 generations to come. So I'm going to leave you with that. And invite you to take that teaching with you. Think about whatever you're going to do and how it's going to affect 7 generations. If it's going to be beneficial, do it. If not, turn around and find another way. So let's work well, harmony and cooperation amongst us for the generations to come. Masicho.